This is Mac OS Ken.
Counterpoint adjusts smartphone expectations. Your music favorites become essentials. And Apple Watch challenges both active and less so. It is Wednesday, the 17th of December, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Clean My Mac. Try 7 days free and use my code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clny.com/MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Bad news for smartphones that will not be that bad for iPhone, according to Counterpoint research. The firm issued a press release Tuesday lowering its smartphone outlook for 2026. This as the cost of building the things goes up. Oh, don't misunderstand. Counterpoint does expect iPhone shipments to drop next year. That might be expected even if the bill of materials didn't rise. Strength like iPhone 17 is seeing into year's end seems likely to set up a tough compare for a year from now. But that's a year from now. What's driving the bill of materials rise right now is a price surge in DRAM. A piece from Tom's Hardware says DRAM prices are continuing to skyrocket thanks to exorbitant demands from the AI industry. For phone manufacturers, Counterpoint says that's already meant increases in bill of materials costs for low-end smartphone makers of 25%, 15% for the mid-range makers, and 10% for phones at the high end, like those made by Apple and, in some cases, Samsung. Those DRAM increases, not done yet. Counterpoint research indicates that memory prices could rise another 40% through the second quarter of 2026, resulting in bill of materials costs increasing anywhere between 8% and over 15% above current elevated levels. Problem is when you're talking about phones that sell in the $200 to $300 range, what are those companies supposed to do? Raise the price and people who might have been able to buy your phone at $250 are suddenly priced out. Keep the price the same and your wafer-thin margins get et. By which I mean eaten. No skin off Apple's nose, though, or a negligible amount of skin anyway. The release has one analyst saying Apple and Samsung are best positioned to weather the next few quarters, but it will be tough for others that don't have as much wiggle room to manage market share versus profit margins. We will see this play out especially with the Chinese OEMs as the year progresses. The U.S. federal government says U.S. big tech is being targeted by unfair regulations in Europe, according to a piece from Mac Rumors. Meanwhile, a piece from 9 to 5 Mac says the, if memory serves, AstroTurfed Coalition for App Fairness is calling on the European Commission to be tougher on Apple's App Store the way it says courts in the States have been doing. Do not make me get out my bleep button. Actually, if I keep doing either of these stories, there is serious danger of that. Blowhards be blowing hard. That is the message. Hit send. Your favorites mix in Apple Music is gone. Long live your essentials. 9 to 5 Mac says Apple has rebranded the former as the latter. According to the piece, the Your Essentials playlist will still be updated every Tuesday, just like the previous favorites mix. Apple says the logic is the same too. The songs you can't do without, the more you use Apple Music, the more essential they become. 9 to 5 Mac thinks the audio streamer probably made the change to differentiate between the old automatically generated favorites mix and the favorite songs playlist. The piece says the favorite songs playlist contains songs that users manually favorited on Apple Music. So if you can't find your favorites mix in Apple Music, do not freak out. It's still there. It's just hiding from you using an assumed name. If you listen to your essentials on Powerbeats Pro 2, you'll soon be doing that with new firmware if you're not already. Yet another piece from 9 to 5 Mac says Apple shipped a firmware update for the stoppers this week. Though the piece promises details, there are not any. Though I guess saying that there aren't details does add a bit of detail. According to the piece, Apple has not published any official release notes at this time, but most often firmware updates simply offer bug fixes and performance enhancements. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Clean My Mac, offering you the gift of a cleaner and leaner Mac this holiday season. Clean My Mac is a suite of apps that optimizes your Mac's performance, finding duplicate files and old installation components that you can remove, both on your Mac and in the cloud, guarding against malware, running maintenance tasks, and eating your cookies. The digital ones, not the tasty ones. Those can slow down your machine and spill your information. Clean My Mac can get rid of your Mac's cookies and crumbs, all at the push of a button. Get tidy today. Try 7 days free and use my code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/MacOSKen. Make MacOSKen all caps in the offer code and the URL. That way they know where you heard about it and you can get that discount. Start the new year with a clean Mac with Clean My Mac. Try 7 days free and use my code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/MacOSKen. Make MacOSKen all caps all the time when you use code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/MacOSKen. Not since Person A got their chocolate and Person B's peanut butter as a combination seems so surprising. A piece from TechCrunch says Apple TV, the application, has added support for Google Cast. According to the report, Apple on Monday said the Apple TV app for Android will now support Google Cast functionality, which lets users stream videos and audio directly to their television. TechCrunch says the feature is arriving just after Netflix quietly abandoned support for Google Cast in its own app, angering many subscribers. Apple support for the feature could potentially attract Android users upset by Netflix's decision, who choose to move their streaming dollars elsewhere, according to the piece. Yeah, I guess so. Also, though, Pluribus, F1 the movie, F1 the races, MLS on Apple TV included next year. Plenty of reasons to make Apple TV bigger on bigger screens. The piece says folks who want to give it a go will need to install the Apple TV app from Google Play, which works on smartphones, tablets, and foldables. Aren't those also tablets or smartphones? Anyway, after that, tap the cast icon in the top right, and there you stay, but watching Apple TV. News of a new show coming next spring to Apple TV. The Cupertino streamer posted a press release Tuesday offering a first look at Widow's Bay. Part horror, part comedy, the release says Matthew Reese plays the mayor of Widow's Bay, a quaint island town 40 miles off the coast of New England. He wants to bring tourists to this island of oddballs, a population that believes the island is cursed. Come the tourists do. There's just one problem. Turns out the island is cursed. After decades of calm, the description says the old stories that seem too ludicrous to be true start happening again. Kate O'Flynn, Stephen Root, Kingston Rumi Southwick, Kevin Carroll, and Dale Dickey are listed as cast members. 10 episodes slated for the show. The first 3 hit Apple TV on Wednesday, the 29th of April. Gotta love Stephen Root. We'll wrap the day with news of a couple of Apple Watch activity challenges. 2 pieces from Mac Rumors bring the news, starting with the annual Ring in the New Year activity challenge. Sometime between now and the 1st of January, your Apple Watch should pop the message, "Start the year strong and stay active." Earn this award by closing all 3 activity rings for 7 days in a row in January. I will say this one is my favorite. A few years ago, the Ring in the New Year challenge led to me closing all 3 rings for over 100 days straight. Then I got knocked on my backside by a medical thing, and since this was before we could pause our streaks, I lost it. But I'll always have the memories. Anyway, close all 3 rings for 7 days straight in January, and you'll get a virtual medallion and animated stickers, plus that smug sense of superiority that comes with doing a thing a lot of people just don't do. I do it for the stickers and the smug sense of superiority. And finally today, before the New Year challenge, how about stickers in the metal for taking it easy? Coming up this Sunday, the other piece from Mac Rumors says Apple's prompting a World Meditation Day activity challenge. Sometime later this week, your Apple Watch should pop the message, "Time to celebrate World Meditation Day." On the 21st of December, record 5 mindful minutes or more with the Mindfulness app, or any app that adds mindfulness minutes to health, to earn this special badge. Do that and you'll get a virtual medallion and animated stickers, plus an inner peace that will drive those around you mad. I do it for the stickers and to drive those around me mad. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Clean My Mac. Try 7 days free and use my code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Advertising handle by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, MacOSKen at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Leonard likes this post.